Welcome back to the channel, folks. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I want to talk about a couple things today. There's a guy out named Colin Aldred that is going against Mr. Ted Cruz here in the Texas election. If you are a Texas voter, I do hope you vote for Ted Cruz. He doesn't support the open borders or the boys and girls bathrooms or the boys and girls sports like Colin Aldred does. And there's been some smashingly great commercials come out in the last week or two by Ted Cruz, just fire breathing dragon commercials against this guy Colin Aldred, and all he's got as rebuttal is Ted Cruz doesn't really want to close the border. So this guy's obviously a liar. Ted Cruz is burning him up with the truth with the commercials. But more than that, I wanted to talk to you about what's going on in Arizona, what has gone on, and what safeguard has just been put in place as a countermeasure to something the Secretary of State was trying to do. Here we go, folks. It says a federal judge blocks Arizona Democrat Secretary of State from certifying the 2024 election if counties withhold certification due to the fraud. Like if Maricopa County says the numbers ain't right, we can't figure out how we got to this number. We got some kind of issue we need to fix before we go any further with handing off the certification, the votes. Well, then, especially due to fraud, then we can say we're going to hold out. Well, in the past, they just said, well, we're going to throw a lawsuit at you, so you got to give them to us anyway. And the counties rolled over because they were afraid to get sued. Well, a judge just ruled, so that won't be happening anymore. That's just the first bit of news about this. Good, good spot about it. It says in a stunning rebuke to Arizona Democratic Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, the cartel lawyer, a federal judge ruled that he cannot certify the results of the 2024 election if any counties withhold certification due to allegations of fraud in the recent federal court case involving American Encore and Adrian Fontes. Arizona Secretary of State Judge Michael T. Liberty issued an order on a challenge to the Arizona's election procedures manual. Adrian Fontes was trying to slide some new rules in on the manual. The plaintiffs contended that the manual's speech provision and canvass provision violated the First Amendment and 14th Amendment rights of Arizona voters, specifically claiming it disenfranchised voters by allowing election officials to suppress speech and exclude votes from counties that failed to timely certify their results. Basically, trying to tell them they were forced to certify because there's a deadline, not because the results are accurate. So the speech provision in the manual explicitly prohibited actions like raising one voice, using offensive language at polling places, which plaintiffs argue could easily be weaponized to silence free speech under the guise of preventing voter intimidation. They're using this free speech, the speech provision, basically saying if you get offensive and loud and cussing and threatening at the polling place, that's where this actually would apply. Judge Liberty acknowledged these concerns, but noted that states' intent to ensure orderly polling places. It's the state's intent to ensure orderly polling places. Plaintiffs contended that the rule was overly broad, and amounted to an unconstitutional censorship, which could have chilling effects on free speech, not only in near polling places but across the state. All right, let me scroll down here a little bit, folks. It says on the canvass provision, the plaintiffs claim that they're giving the Secretary of State the authority to proceed with the state canvass without counting votes from any county that failed to certify results in time was unprecedented and posed a significant risk of disenfranchising voters. So in the past, they said, no, you have to turn everything in, even if you don't agree with the tabulation, because there was some shenanigan, the machine issues or something of that matter. Wrong side of paper accidentally or something of that nature. Says the plaintiff cited in 2022 election in Cochise County where election officials delayed certified results as an example of how the rule could be misused to throw out legally cast votes. The judge ruling they referred to the winter factors, which come from a 2008 Supreme Court case. Winter versus Natural Resource Defense Council Incorporated. They are used to elevate whether the court should be issued a preliminary injunction. Let me scroll down here a little bit. This is about another case that doesn't seem too relevant. Hold on, folks. The Winter test derived from the Supreme Court case Winter versus Natural Resources Defense Council established the criteria for courts to grant preliminary injunctions to succeed if plaintiffs must demonstrate a likelihood of success of merits of the case, a likelihood of suffering irreparable harm in the absence of a preliminary relief, that the balance of equity tips in their favor, and that the injunction is in public interest. Here, the courts found that the plaintiffs met all four prongs: likelihood of success of merits, irreparable harm, balance of equities, and public interest. As a result of these findings, the court ruled to enjoin the temporarily block the enforcement of the canvas provision while the case proceeds. This means that until the final resolution of the case, Arizona Secretary of State will be prohibited from certifying statewide election results if any counties withhold certification due to fraud and other concerns. So the case is ongoing. The election's in 40 days. If there's any counties that do not want to certify because they know something rotten in Denmark in their county and they call it out, they're not going to be forced by the Secretary of State with lawsuits to give it up because the judge ruled in advance that at this point in time, that little slide in on the manual, not happening. Not until this case is decided. You don't get to add shit in the middle while you're in the middle of a proceeding. Not a cool way to try to do things. Judge caught that. I'm glad to see that. Behizzi reported on this as well. It says a federal judge in Arizona ruled that the Democrat Secretary of State cannot certify the results of the 2024 if even one county wants to withhold the certification due to fraud. In the past, they just made them do it, and that with the Secretary of State's muscle, I'm guessing. So that is a great deal to know that Arizona. Actually, this kind of explains a whole lot about the whole false electorate. I'm sure you've heard of fake electors, false electors, and alternate electors. Well, in the case of the state sends alternate electors to the Capitol when it's time to actually swear in the president, count the certify the election for every state, like they do on January 6th. If Arizona can't get even one of their counties to comply due to fraud allegations until the matter is resolved, Arizona doesn't get to send their entire state's vote with their two electorates or their several electorates to be certified. It's a big roadblock if there's any fraud. I love it. I love it, folks. Like, subscribe, and share. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Uh, don't forget to register and vote. Go get other people out to vote. I know I say this all the time, but that is my main mission here in life right now, this time of year, is to try to get as many people motivated, activated, uh, working towards a better country. I just getting in people's ear and getting them to vote. You can get on your phone and show somebody how to vote. Just that easy. Still working on my Mo guy as well. I'm trying to convert him to be a Republican for the election time. Working hard at it, folks. But enough about me. Everybody, over and out. Have a great one.